All right, what's up, YouTube? I want to speak on Mikey Garcia. Now that we know that he's fighting Sergey Lipinets, I see the reaction to people. Okay, not too many people are happy about this fight. I don't know why. I think Sergey is a pretty good fighter at 140. You know, one of the best at 140. Still a little bit unproven, but I mean, he holds the title at 140, and I think he's a good boxer. I've seen him fight a few times, and he's one of the guys that a lot of people felt that Terrence Crawford was trying to avoid. All right, I totally, highly disagree with that. But anyway, let's talk Mikey Garcia. Okay, let's just speak on his options. Okay, what was available or what people wanted to see. Okay, this is what I've heard from people in my comments. I've heard from people in the that on the YouTube community, and I've read this in other people's comments as well. Let's start out with Lomachenko. Okay, now I don't know what's the deal with Lomachenko. I'm sure this fight with Sergey was already building up and already being negotiated before Lomachenko fought ringing now, okay? Because that fight was just not even 2 weeks ago. All right. Um, I don't know what Lomachenko is trying to do. I know that Mikey has publicly said that he is willing to come down to 135 to fight Lomachenko, which is cool. And we've heard Lomachenko said he would go up to 135 to fight Mikey. All right. My thing is this. I don't know what Lomachenko is doing as far as 130 is concerned. I don't know if he's going to try to make some unification matches. I don't know what he's trying to do at 130. But whatever he's trying to do at 130, I'd rather him do it now while he's still down at 130. So if he chooses to go up to 135, whether he's fighting Mikey Garcia, his first fight at 135, or his second, or whatever he decides to do at 135, I'd rather him do that after he finishes 130. I don't think he's going to be able to completely clean up 130 because not everyone is willing to fight him at 130. But whatever he's trying to do at this point at 130, he might as well do it right now because I feel like Lomachenko at 130 and 135, he's a solid size guy, but I really can't see him going past 140 tops by the end of his career, like tops. I can't see him really fighting at 147. If he bulks up too much, it's going to take away from his speed. I just don't see him fight at 147 at any point in his career. I just don't. He's really not that big of a guy. I know in the amateurs he was fighting at lightweight, so that's fair. But this guy has been fighting at 126. I think he might have fight a little lower than 126 at one point in one of his fights in his professional career. But I'm not sure on that. I'm not sure on that. But 126, we know him as fighting at 126 and 130. Soon we're gonna get him at 135. I don't know if we're ever gonna get him at 140, but if he has anything that he needs to do at 130, let him do it now. Okay, not much down there. Most people wanted to see him fight Rigo. If anywhere in between one. People say Tank Davis too, but Tank Davis is not interested in the fight clearly. And no one really cares about any of the other title holders at 130 enough for us to. There's no real demand for those fights. Now, if he chooses to try to make unification matches, that's cool. But before moving to 135, he needs to make sure that he's done with 130, in my opinion. I think bouncing around, I really just don't think he should do that. I think 135 got better competition, and if he chooses to go up in weight, he should probably stay up at 135. Now, as far as that fight is concerned between Mikey Garcia and Lomachenko, I made a video on this already. I think Mikey Garcia would be the toughest fight for Lomachenko to win. If anybody between 126 up into 140, I think Mikey Garcia brings or is the biggest threat to Lomachenko. Not saying Mikey would win that fight. I'm just saying that I think he has a better chance or the best chance of beating him if Loma was to move up. All right. Now let's talk about 135. At 135, I see a lot of people saying Easter Jr. They wanted Easter Jr. They wanted Mikey Garcia to fight Easter Jr. instead of Sergey Lipinets. I don't really agree with that. You know, I think Easter is cool. I mean, I've never seen a boring Robert Easter fight. He's a good fighter, but I think Mikey Garcia would destroy him, you know. I'm just not really that overly impressed with Easter Jr. I think the last fight I seen him fight against, I can't think of this guy's name. It was on PBC. The last fight he had, I thought was a draw. You know, I think Easter is good. He's solid, but he's way too easy to hit. He's way too easy to hit, and you know, I think he still has a lot of work to get done. You know, I know he's a champion at 135. He is a good fighter and everything. But he's not on Mikey Garcia's level, in my opinion. You know, I don't think his boxing ability is on that level. I don't think his punching power is really that strong. You know, I think his defense is not good at all. You know, I think it's just average at best. Okay, Easter is good. He's tall. He has long arms. You know, for the division, he's a big guy. But he doesn't really fight tall that well, in my opinion. You know, so I think Mikey Garcia against Robert Easter, it would have been a pretty easy fight for Mikey Garcia. Whether he tries to go for the knockout or whether he just chooses to outbox him for 12 rounds, I think Mikey Garcia has that fight in the bag easily. You know, I think Jorge Linares would probably be a better fight for Mikey and probably the toughest fight for Mikey. Another fight that I think Mikey would win. But I think Jorge would bring more to the fight. Jorge will probably have a better chance of getting knocked out over Easter. But Jorge is a better boxer than Easter Jr. in my opinion. That's just my opinion. As far as the fighters at 135. Everybody else at 135, not really worth mentioning in my opinion. Now at 140. There's a lot of fighters at 140. Okay, I think Victor Poster would be a tough fight for Mikey Garcia. I think Victor Poster, you know, I think Felix Diaz would be, I don't know if Felix is planning on staying at 140 or is he going to go back to 147. I don't know what he plans to do, but I think Felix Diaz would be a tough fight for Mikey Garcia. Victor Poster, like I already said. You got Sergey Lipinets, who Mikey is fighting. I think Mikey's going to win the fight. But I don't think Sergey is some pushover, you know. Mikey already beat on Adrian Broner. And then, you know, you have the other champions. You had Ndongo, who just lost to Crawford. You know, I think he probably would... He's probably not even looking at finding an elite fighter at 140 right now because he just got knocked out by Terence Crawford with a body shot. So, with all that being said, I think Mikey's toughest fight at 140 would probably be Victor Poster. Okay? If you are one of those people that are complaining and thinking that Mikey's taking an easy fight, I really disagree with that because I think Sergey probably brings a lot more than any of the other guys at 135. You know, if he's not fighting Loma, I think Sergey is a solid opponent. I'm not mad at the fight at all. You know, I don't think he's the most dangerous opponent, but I think he's up there as one of the better opponents that's available at 140, okay? So I'm not mad at all, you know. I mean, you know, as the fight gets closer, I'll probably do a full breakdown of the fight. But I have no problems with the fight at all. You know, I have no complaints at all with this fight. You know, Sergey is a slick boxer, you know, good hand speed, very, very good legs. You know, good, solid defense. You know, I mean, listen, he's not bringing anything that Mikey hasn't seen before, especially fighting Adrian Broner in his recent fight. You know, I think Adrian Broner, you know, even with that loss, I don't know if I ever said this on camera, but I actually thought that was the best Adrian Broner we got since he moved up to 135. Even with the loss, I noticed the difference in his weight, his size, his movement. You know, his legs were, you know, everything. He was quick. He seemed like he really trained hard for that fight. And even though he lost, I can still say that that was the best Broner I've seen in years. You know, since he moved up and fought Paulie Malignaggi. I was very impressed with Broner. I know he's lost before, but he lost by guys that were, you know, big 147 guys that were overly aggressive and just bullied him in the ring. Um, Mikey didn't really bully him. Mikey just straight up outboxed him, you know. And I was very impressed with Mikey outboxing him, you know, outside of Porter just bum rushing him and Maidana just using his size and his power to really just, you know, beat Broner. And I didn't think Broner expected, a lot of us didn't expect Broner to lose that fight. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. I like the fight. I have no problems with the fight. You know, until we get a major fight that we want, like whether it's Mikey Garcia against Lomachenko or Mikey against, you know, I don't know, because Mikey seems to be a guy that's just shopping around right now. You know, he was just trying to fight Miguel Cotto, you know, at 154. You know, he's called out Keith Thurman. He seems like a guy that's just looking for an opportunity to fight a big name and get paid. You know, but until we get that Lomachenko fight or whatever other fights that you guys want, I'm cool with this fight. And I think this is a better fight than the Easter Jr. fight. You know, I don't mind the Easter Jr. fight neither. I don't mind him fighting him or Linares. I don't mind him fighting Barthélemy. I don't mind him fighting Postal. I don't mind whoever he decides to fight. These are all solid fights until we get to that finish line with Mikey. You know, whether it's going to be at 147, whether it's going to be at 135 against Lomachenko, whatever we get, I can wait until we get that fight. You know, but I want Mikey to be ready. I want Loma to be ready. And that's it. This is not about pointing fingers and blaming who and, you know, whose fault that this fight is not happening. You know, I want to see the Loma fight, but, you know, I want them to both, let's get the fight when they're both ready. You know, when Loma's ready to move to 135, then let's get the fight. And Mikey's, you know, ready to come down to fight Loma, then we can get the fight. That's just how I look at it, you know. So let me know what you guys think of this fight here against Lipinets. Let me know about Easter Jr. Let me know about Lomachenko, everything I just, you know, brought up. I do think Postal is probably still the toughest fight at 140. You know, Postal lost to Crawford, but Postal was giving Crawford some issues in the earlier rounds of that fight, all right? So, you know, I would like to see him fight Mikey Garcia. I still think he's a tough fighter at 140. Let me know what you guys think, all right? And make sure you guys hit subscribe, all right? Peace.